strength and my trust. In you I live and move and have my being. You are my shelter, my peace and my shield. You are my everything. You are worthy to be praised. You are my rock, my strength and my trust. In you I live and move and have my being. You are my shelter, my peace and my shield. You are my everything. You are worthy to be praised. Sweet Jesus, beautiful King, no Father like you, no friend like you. Your love for me is everlasting. No one like you, no one like you. Sweet Jesus, beautiful King, there is no Father like you, no friend like you. Your love for me is everlasting. No one like you, no one like you. You are my rock, my strength, my trust. In you I live and move and have my being. You are my shelter, my peace and my shield. You are my everything. You are worthy to be praised. You are my rock, my strength, my trust. In you I live and move. You are my shelter, my peace, my shield. You are everything. You are my everything. You are worthy to. Sweet Jesus, you are beautiful King. There is no Father like you, no friend like you. Your love is everlasting. No one like you. You are sweet Jesus. Yes, you are, Lord. No Father like you, no friend like you.
All right, so this is the day the Lord has made. You will rejoice and be glad in it. I really want to thank God that we're having this program today. First off, I want to apologize. I'm sorry that we're starting a bit late. I'm sorry about that. Of course, it's due to one of the things, but again, I'm sorry that we're starting really very, very late. And I'm so glad that we're starting right now. Since we're starting late, we're starting now. I need to apologize about that. Please, we start this program by 1 p.m. Nigerian time, and but because of a little bit of hitch, we couldn't start when we wanted to start. So again, I want to apologize that we're starting a bit late at this point in time. Now, today we're going to be having a very, very interesting topic of discussion. I mean, all of the topic of discussion we've been having are usually very interesting, all right? We talk about interesting topic of discussion, but today we're going to be having a very unique one. And you know, the reason why we're having today's own is because of what we've been seeing for a while. All over the world, we've been experiencing a bit of an attack, here and there, concerning the Prophet of Islam. So today, what we're going to be taking a look at is related to the Prophet of Islam. Right on this show, we've talked about a couple of topics that have to do with the Prophet of Islam. But today we're going to be narrowing down to a specific one. And of course, we're going to be talking about one of the claims of the Muslims. One of the things that the Muslims say, especially concerning the Prophet of Islam, is that he is a mercy to mankind. And, they usually want to tell you that Muhammad is a prophet of mercy. Forget all of those things that you're seeing out there. I mean, all those things are just mere propaganda, that Muhammad is a prophet of mercy. So that's what we've been hearing from our Muslim friends. And today we want to see if that is true, considering the Islamic sources. All right. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. And I want to let you know there's going to be an interesting topic of discussion. If you're a Muslim, you're watching this program, please, I want to encourage you to call into the show. All right. And ask a question or even interact with the speaker for today. All right, so I want you guys to be involved in this, because one of the things I discover is that anytime the issue of Muhammad is brought up, Muslims rarely talk about this. I mean, I've debated a lot of Muslim and even Unitarians on the issue of the deity of Christ. But when you want to talk about the prophethood of Muhammad, or probably the personality of Muhammad, you discover that Muslims are not willing to engage in that kind of a topic. I don't know why that is, but I think it's something that we should do as a community to get to understand one another better. All right, so without much ado, I have in the studio right here with me a brother. He's been on the show so many times. Now, when I say so many times, a couple of times, I should say. And it's usually a delight to have him on the program. The last time he was on the program, I learned a couple of things. There are some certain things that I've never had before, and hearing that from him was like, wow, so this thing is existing, and I didn't get to know about it. All right. So let me introduce to you the brother we're going to be having today. Of course, some of you know his name, and you know him, he's been on the show. But then I want to just introduce him to you, I want to just get him familiarized with you. I want to read out to you his biography so you get to know one of the things that he's done, and then we move on from there. All right. So the guest that I have today is Mwalimu Chaka Wamusa. Okay, so that's his name. And then Mwalimu Chaka is a student of apologetics with a key interest in comparative studies, especially in the area of Islamic studies. He has featured in the past on the program Yesundi Inja. All right, so I didn't pronounce that very well, but then I believe those in East Africa, we know what I say. All right, so that's Yesu Die Inja. All right, so that's Jesus is the way. Okay, so that program features on 93.3 Hope FM Radio, Nairobi, Sauti, Nyikani. Okay, so that's Voice from the Wilderness, and also on Wapu Radio FM 98.1, and that is in Tanzania, and several recorded programs on Transworld Radio, Nairobi. Mwalimu Chaka has a passion for the Messiah and the gospel of the kingdom. He has held many public and indoor meetings in East Africa, some of which are available online. Chaka is currently a graduate student at the Columbia International University, South Carolina, and dedicates much of the time in dialogue using the social media platform. Chaka runs an apologetic YouTube channel, which is now over 20K. Okay, so if I want to say 120, the Lord will make it happen for you, bro. So the message you're spreading out there, we go all over the world. Okay, so this YouTube channel are both in English and in Swahili language. Okay, catering for the English and the East African audience as well. Chaka can be found on Twitter through the handle Mwalimu Chaka, and also on his website www.mwalimuchaka.com. My brother Chaka is married to Elizabeth Chaka Wamusa. Men and brethren, I'm so glad to announce to you, or to bring to you on the program today, our dear brother Mwalimu Chaka Wamusa. Bro, Chaka, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. I should say good morning, good afternoon.
All right, so
good evening to the viewers wherever you are.
It's afternoon right here. I know it's morning right here. In fact, you're just getting to about 7 a.m. in the morning right now, right?
Yes, I'm just getting to 5 minutes.
Folks, we're getting to 2 right here in Nigeria, and it's just getting to about 7 a.m. in the morning. So, sometimes when you overwork yourself in the night, it might take a while for you to be able to come up. It's a sacrifice on his end. I've gone to church, come back, and then we're doing this program, whereas this is still very early in the morning for him. So that's why sometimes when we bring folks into this program, we usually want to appreciate them, because we know it's a sacrifice to come that early in the morning when you still have a lot of things to do, for the day, but you still have it, in mind to honor our invitation. So, Berchaka, really want to appreciate you for that. Really want to thank you. So, folks, we're going to get into the program right away. But, Berchaka, before we get into the program, before you begin to talk about how Muhammad is, probably was he a mercy to mankind or something like that, want to ask you, why do you think it's very important for us to talk about this topic of discussion? Why should we be talking about whether Muhammad is a mercy to mankind or a mercy for mankind or not? So I want to hear that from you for just a minute, and then we'll get right into the program.
Sure. I want to begin this time with thanksgiving to the Lord for an opportunity, even to come on this show, but also just to thank God because of the gift of life, and to have everybody tuned in this morning, and those who will be watching later. I want to wish you the peace of God to be upon you. So to start with, I think it's very important for us to discuss the personhood of Muhammad, and the message that he comes with, and this is because when you read the message of the Quran as presented in the Quran and in the books of Islam generally, we are made to understand that Prophet Muhammad is coming in the lineage of the prophets before him, and that is Prophet Jesus, Prophet Moses, Prophet David, and all of them. And he comes as a seal of the prophets. In other words, the last of the prophets. So his message is not just for his ummah. The Ummatul Muhammad actually, it will continue to the last day. And therefore, whatever it comes with is not just important for those that are Muslims, but also important for mankind, because the Quran, for instance, mentions Christians and Jews in about 62 different places. And in the summary of what the Quran says to the Christians and to the Jew is that unless you accept that which Muhammad has come with, then you are in danger of perishing, of going to hell. And therefore, for us, we just cannot, accept anything first just like that. We need to therefore measure it up, listen to what it comes with, gauge it with what we have, and make up our minds. And this is something that the Christian church has sought to do from the very beginning. We read, according to Islamic history, that the church, the Christians of Najran, present-day Yemen, left Najran and came all the way to Medina. And for 3 days, the Christians, led by a bishop called Abdul Masih, discussed with the Prophet Muhammad for 3 days on the person of Christ, on the crucifixion and other topics. And so we see this pattern from very early on, but also see that the message of the Quran seeks to engage the people of the book. The people of the book here being Jews and Christians, and mentions, as I said, mentions them several times. And therefore, it's upon us as Christians to actually ponder, and the Quran calls us to do that, to discuss, to meditate on the message that Muhammad comes with. But in regard to the topic, then, that whether Muhammad is a mercy to mankind, remember, we are not discussing whether he existed.
Yeah.
That has been a subject, that has been there. Did Muhammad really exist? But we are assuming that what the Quran presents and what the Islamic sources present is what we have. Therefore, when we turn to the Quran, what does it say in regard to this topic? And what are Muslims saying in regard to what we are about to discuss today? If you got the Quran with you, Brother Korede, you can read chapter 21 and verse 107. This is a very key verse in discussing this topic.
Okay, so that's
Okay,
Quran
so that's
chapter
Quran
21.
chapter 21, Surah Al-Anbiya, the chapter of the prophets, and the verse is 107.
Okay, so I
Okay,
discovered that
so I
whenever I talk,
discovered
there
that
is an
whenever
echo
I talk, there is
from
an
your
echo
end.
from
So I
your
suppose
end.
that you
So
open up
I suppose
probably
that you open up
Skype, sorry,
probably Skype,
YouTube
sorry,
or Facebook
YouTube or
while
Facebook.
we're having this conversation. Is it open up?
I don't think so. I will go ahead and just make sure that everything else is
Okay,
shut.
because
Uh,
I could hear myself while I was talking. Okay, so everything is okay right now. I can't hear myself again, so I think we're good to go. Yeah, awesome. I think we're good to go. All right. Okay, great. So that's Quran chapter 21, right?
yes.
21 verse 106. Sorry, 1 or what? Okay, 107. All right, so Quran chapter 6 verse 107. It reads, yeah. Yeah, 21. Yeah. Okay, great. So Quran chapter 21 verse 107, um it says verily there is a, oh sorry, that's a 107. And we have sent you, O Muhammad, but as a mercy for the Alameen, the mankind.
And so the Quran does presents this fact that Allah says, "We have sent you, O Muhammad, to be nothing but a mercy, rahmatul alamin." So it's been sent to be a mercy to mankind. And again, we see this reiterated in chapter 7 of the Quran. If you can read there again, we can read it. Um,
Okay, chapter 7 verse,
yeah, 107.
okay, so chapter 7 verse 107.
Yes.
All right, so here's
Um,
what it says. That's Quran chapter 7 107. Goes thus. And then Musa, oh sorry, I 107. 717. Then Musa threw his stick, and behold it was a serpent manifest.
well, you can read 157.
Okay, 157. All
Yes.
right, so 157 says, okay, there we go. It says, those who follow the messenger, the prophet, who can neither read nor write,
Mm-hmm.
whom they found written with them in the Torah and in the Injil, he commanded for them al-Maruf, and that Islam has been ordained. I mean, all of the translations in brackets in between, and forbid them from al-Munkar. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are so many. Let me just read the Yusuf Ali right here because I discovered that there's so many things in between the translations. So I'm reading Yusuf Ali. It says, those who follow the messenger, yeah, those who
Yes.
follow the messenger, the unlettered prophet, whom they found mentioned in their own scriptures, in the law and in the gospel. For he commanded them what is just and forbid them what is evil. He allows them as lawful what is good and pure, and prohibit them from what is bad and impure. He releases them from their heavy burdens and from the yoke that are upon them. So it is those who believe in him, honor him, help him, and follow the light which is sent down with him. It is they who will prosper.
Okay, so if you read the Quran, this verse is basically, and Muslim would say this, that the Quran insinuates that Muhammad is, whatever he came with is not new.
Yeah.
He is a prophet that has already been mentioned in the Torah, and he has already been mentioned in the Injil, that is the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the Bible before Muhammad did prophesy about his coming
Yeah.
and is being a mercy to mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And and I also want to make this point that according to Islam, at least to the main Orthodox Islam,
Yeah.
then he is not just a prophet to the Arabs or to a particular people group, but he is a mercy to mankind, meaning that he is a prophet, and being that there is no prophet after him, is that he is the only prophet from his time in 610, from beginning from that time all the way to the last day or to the day of judgment. Although there is of course the fact that come back according to Islam just before the last day, but the sense still is that Muhammad is there for the last of the prophets according to Surah 33. And so basically, in a nutshell, that's what we would be if we were to begin. That's where we can begin from. That the Quran does say that Muhammad was a mercy, that we have sent you to be a mercy to mankind. I think that is something that we should now dive into and look. One, what it means is that before Muhammad, the Quran also does mentions that the Messiah was a mercy. Okay. If you look at chapter 19, if you look at chapter 19, and we may not even read it, but dear brothers and sisters that are following, you can look at chapter 19, in particular verse 21. It does say that the Messiah, when he was born, he was made a sign and a mercy to human beings. So he was also a mercy. But what then is so particular about Muhammad that makes him to stand out? First, because we have said according to Surah 33 and verse 40, he is the seal of the prophets. Now this is very funny, especially when we consider us as Christians, and we are interrogating the Quran from the eyes of being Christians. And therefore, my dear brothers, when I'm looking at this, I may be biased because, and I need to mention that, because I am looking this and comparing it to the former books, because that is something that the Quran has already demanded of me. Because the Quran says that whatever Muhammad came with does not in any way contradict the earlier books. Now, when I read the Gospel of John, I find that Jesus is the seal. He says the Son of Man has already the seal of the Father. But the Quran also presents Muhammad as the seal of the prophets. Therefore, I have to compare between the message of Jesus and the message of the Quran in regard to what they came with. Now, what does the general message of the Quran say? This is how I divide the Quran. The Quran can actually be divided according to the life and the pattern of Prophet Muhammad. Now, Prophet Muhammad has two very important periods to any student of the Quran, any student of knowledge, any student of Hikmah, if I can use that word. What are the two divisions? The first period would be the period after 610. I can hear an echo on the background, Brother Korede. After 610, because it's at 610 that he proclaims himself a prophet. And then he goes ahead to preach the message of Islam for the next 13 years in Mecca, in his birthplace, in his motherland, the city in which he was born. And in the year 620, something happens. Muhammad loses two very important pillars in his life: his wife Khadija and his paternal uncle Abu Talib. They die in a period of 3 days. And from that period on, life becomes unbearable for Muhammad, because these two people in his life were very important. They were like pillars. Khadija was a very wealthy woman. And therefore, as long as she was alive, the people in Mecca could not touch him, could not touch his life. they could try to, intimidate him, but they could actually never touch his life in terms of killing him because of these two people, Khadija and Abu Talib. Now, what does the Quran show us? Take the Yusuf Ali translation. Let's go to chapter 93.
Okay.
Quran chapter 93.
Mm-hmm. It's very you can begin.
I'm still hearing myself in the background,
and I can hear myself on the background too.
Oh, I think there's something. Can you check if there is a device at your hand right there?
If there is what?
Probably you open up a page that is playing something.
No. Not really. All I have.
So you don't have YouTube on.
YouTube on. No, I don't have nothing else on apart from my Skype.
So that's kind of strange. All right. Okay. No problem. Let's move on. I'll just see how we can.
Okay. No problem. Let's move on. I'll just see how we
can sort that out, because right here from my hand I can't see. I can't see any reason why there should be that noise.
Okay.
I can hear myself when I talk. So. All right. So Quran chapter what? Quran chapter.
It's chapter 93. It's a very short surah.
Okay. All right. Quran chapter 93, and then we're looking at verse.
Just begin reading from verse 1, and we'll go all the way to verse 8.
Okay. So here we go.
Or verse 9.
All right. So here we go. Quran chapter 93, starting from verse 1, and it says, verse. By the glorious morning. Okay. Don't know if I can. Okay. There we go. By the glorious morning light, and by the light when it is still. Thy guardian Lord had not forsaken thee, nor is it displeased. And verily, the hereafter will be better for thee than the present. And soon will thy guardian Lord give thee that wherewith thou shalt be well pleased. Did he not find thee an orphan, and give thee shelter and care? And he found thee wandering, and he gave thee guidance. And he found thee in need, and made thee independent. Verse 9 says, therefore treat not the orphan with harshness. Verse 10, nor repulse the pensioner, that's the unheard. Excuse me. And verse 11, which is the last verse.
No, that's
okay.
That's okay. Right. So now, dear viewer, dear listener, I want you to look with me on what Suratul Ad-Du'a says. Now, the things that I need to comment, beginning from verse 3, it says, your guardian Lord has not forsaken you, nor is he displeased with you. Now, when we go to the hadith, we find the definition of this. There was a period where Muhammad was not allegedly receiving any revelation. And therefore, the woman came and told her, it seems like your shaitan has left you. Your devil has left you. And the Quran, in answering that, it says, your guardian Lord. Now, whether this means Allah or it means Jibreel is a subject of discussion. It says, your guardian Lord has not forsaken you, nor is he displeased with you. Truly, the hereafter is better than the present. And soon will your guardian Lord give you wealth or something which you will be pleased. Now, verse 6, Korede, follow it with me. Did we not find you an orphan, and we gave you shelter? Now, in Jalalain and the other Mufassirun, they tell us that this verse actually is talking about Khadija.
Wow.
That when Allah found Muhammad, you remember when he was in the cave of Hira? He says, did we not find you an orphan and we gave you shelter? therefore, he was an orphan, a poor man, somebody who had nothing, had been raised as an orphan, and Allah gave him shelter. In other words, he brought him Khadija. Verse 7. And we found you lost. Now, I know your translation said we found you wandering. But the word Dharahan actually basically means he was lost. We found you lost and we guided you. So he was lost. Lost how was he lost? Probably in polytheism and all that. And so Allah says, we found you lost. And I can defend this using the Quran.
You're actually right, because the Shakiri translation that I have right here says that and we find you lost. So it's actually true, yeah.
Find you lost. So it's actually true, yeah.
So, and we found you in need and made you and gave you abundant. In other words, before prophethood, Muhammad had nothing, and now he suddenly has no wants. He's not in need anymore. And therefore he's told, because of that, do not treat orphans with harshness. In other words, because of that, be a mercy to people. Because of that. And the Quran also repeats this same thing when you read Surah chapter 4. It says, if you cannot treat the orphans well, and then it goes on. Yes, and then it begins with the orphans and all that, and then goes on to talk about women and choose from whom you like and all that. 3, 4, 2, or if you cannot, then 1. So therefore then Muhammad is supposed to be a mercy to human beings. But my question and your question should be: was he really did he live up to what he had been called to do? Let's begin from Surah Al-Abasa. Surah Al-Abasa. I'm trying to remember what Surah Al-Abasa is in I should be chapter 80.
The numbering, right?
Surah
the numbering, right?
Yes.
It's Quran chapter 80.
Yes, it's Quran chapter 80.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Verse 1.
So, do you want me to read?
Yes, I want you to read. I like it when you read it for me, and then I can get it.
Okay, Quran chapter 80, verse 1. It says, the prophet frowned and turned away.
The prophet frowned and turned away.
Because there came to him the blind man, interrupting. But what could tell thee, but that perchance, he might grow in spiritual understanding, or that he might receive admonition. You want me to stop right there?
Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Now, according to Sunni Orthodox understanding of this verse, is that one day Muhammad was giving a lecture. He was calling people into Islam. Now, remember I said Sunni Orthodox because the Shias would frown on that understanding.
Yeah.
So one day, as he gives a lecture in the mosque, or rather in front of the people of Makkah, the Qurayshis, they came to him, a man that was blind, and Muhammad frowned upon this man. He didn't want to be disturbed when he's talking to the noble people. Why would a blind man come to him to disturb him? And therefore, in this verse, Allah is apparently rebuking him because of that action. And so my question I ask is, how was he a mercy to this man, to this blind man? If the blind can come to him, and instead of him talking to them, you remember There was a man before Muhammad, 600 years before.
Yeah.
When the blind man came to him, he says, "Son of David, have mercy on me. Have mercy on me." This other prophet did not turn him away and say, "Hey, I'm talking." In fact, you know what the gospel says? It says he was making noise. And people, the other people were like, "Hey, you're disturbing the master. Shut up." But you know what the master says? "Hey, let him come." But Muhammad, on the same platform, when he asked, he told them, no. I'm only, actually, let's read chapter number 19, my brother. Okay, chapter 19.
19, Surah Al-Maryam.
Okay, Quran chapter 19.
Yes.
Surah Al-Maryam.
Yes, and let's go to verse 90, beginning from 90.
So Quran chapter 19, verse 19 says
Quran chapter 19, verse 19 says
and it takes the sky as ready to burst, and the earth to split asunder, and the mountains to fall down in utter ruin, that they should invoke a son for Allah the most gracious. And then verse 92 says, for it is not consonant, okay, with the majesty of Allah most gracious, that it should beget a son. And then, do you want me to read verse 93?
Let me check the particular verse that I want you to read, because the particular verse I am looking for basically talks about when these guys went demanding for a sign. Oh yes, it is chapter 17. Okay, sorry, 17. It was chapter 17, verse 19.
17, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So verse 19 says thus.
Verse 90.
Oh, okay,
90. 17.
Okay, so that's 90, right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So 90 says thus. They say, we shall not believe in thee. That's Quran chapter 17, verse 90. They say, we shall not believe in thee until thou cause a spring to gush for us from the earth. And then verse 91 says, or until thou have a garden of date trees and wine, and cause rivers to gush forth in their midst, carrying abundant water. 92 says, or thou cause the sky to fall in pieces, as thou sayest will happen against us, or thou bring Allah and the angels before us face to face. And
no. Okay, I want to reiterate verse 92 before you go on. He said, or you cause the sky to fall in pieces as you say it will happen against us, or as you claim. So Muhammad actually did claim that he would bring down the sky. So this is something that they are holding against him, that as you did say, or you did claim, or you bring Allah and the angels before us face to face. Okay, and then on verse 93 says, "Oh, you have a house adorned with gold, or a mountain, a ladder right into the skies. No, we shall not even believe in you mounting until you send down to us a book that we can read. Say, glory to the Lord, and I heard but a man, a messenger. But I am but a man." You know, see that's what it says. See, that's what it says. I am just but a messenger. And then Allah goes on to say, what kept the people before this generation of Muhammad, what kept them from believing of Allah? It says is because even if he was to do any sign, they would not believe. And therefore Muhammad says his biggest sign that he came with is not to bring down the sky, is not to do another thing, is not to heal the deaf, is not to heal the blind, like Kulthum and all those. The greatest sign that he comes with is the Quran. Now, of course, that is something we can talk about when we talk about the alls in the narratives, but the Quran presents Muhammad then that he is supposed to be a mercy to mankind. The other thing I would want to look at now is, as I said, his message can be divided into two periods. So the first period, when Muhammad had no strength, how did he react to the people around him? And in particular, how did he behave? How did he carry himself alongside Christians and Jews? What we see from the very beginning of Muhammad's message is that he had a very light place, I would say, for Christians.
Yeah.
How do we see this? When Muslims were facing persecutions, they actually ran to Christians in Ethiopia, and they were received by the church in Ethiopia. They were protected under the Najran, the emperor in Ethiopia at that time. But something else happened. At this time, the message of the Quran was very significant. When we read chapter 2, verse 62, or chapter 5, verse 65, the Quran, in talking to the Christians and Jews, it says, the Christians and the Jews and the Sabaeans, whoever believes in Allah, believes in God, and believes in the last day, and performs good deeds.
I can read the verse for you.
This one, surely.
If you want me to, I can.
You can pick one of them. Pick chapter 2, verse 62.
Chapter 2, verse 62.
All right. So,
I don't know why I can still
Yeah.
hear myself.
I can.
Okay, Quran chapter 2, verse.
Yeah, at some point,
Okay,
I
verse
was
62 says, "Those who believe in the Quran and those who follow the
Mhm.
Jewish scripture and the Christians and the Sabaeans,
Mhm.
any who believe in Allah and the last day and walk righteousness shall have their reward with their Lord, and on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve." So that's Quran chapter 2, verse 62.
So they shall have no fear on the last day. Why? Because they believed in Allah, they believed in the last day, they believed in the books that were with them. That was the initial message of the Quran. So then you would see with the time, when the Jews in particular rejected him, is the tone of the Quran begins to change towards, begins to be aggressive towards the Jews. For example, chapter 2, you're still in chapter. You read for us verse 104.
Quran chapter 2, verse 104. Okay.
Mhm.
Here's what it says. Okay, just want to be sure that I get the right verse. It says, "Oh, you..."
Yeah, it-
Sorry? Quran chapter 2, verse 104, right? All right, it says,
Mhm.
"O ye of faith, say not to the messenger word of ambiguous import, but word of respect, and hearken to him. To those without faith is a grievous punishment."
All right. So in this particular verse, to basically understand what the Quran is saying here, so all you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina, do not say to the prophet, the word you see, dhurna, do not say dhurna, because this is a word that is, according to the Mufassirun, the Jews used to come and tell Muhammad this word. Now, when the Muslims was telling Muhammad this word, what they meant is guide us as a shepherd guides his flock. But what the Jews meant was an abuse to him. Okay, so eventually when Muhammad came in contact with Jewish ladies and he came to learn this, so Allah now brings a verse to say, hey, you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, do not say dhulna, but say a word that is almost similar in meaning to that. In other words, they're telling Muhammad,
I can confirm.
they're now using
I
a
can
different,
confirm what you're saying. I'm just checking out this translation of the Quran that I got recently. The glorious Quran by Ifan ul Quran. Okay, so still
Okay.
Ifan ul Quran. It was actually made by Sheikh Al Islam Dr. Muhammad Tarir Al Qadri. Sorry. Here's what it says. I'm reading from the verse of the Quran now. It says, "All believers seeking the kind attention of the Holy Prophet
Right
says,
now,
do not say Raina." All right.
Mhm,
Of course,
mhm.
Yusuf Ali did not bring that to the fore. I believe it's in the Arabic, but probably it's not shown in the translation. But this one actually bringing the word the Raina there says, "Do not say Raina. Pay attention to us, but submit most humbly." And then he put the Arabic word there. "Bless us with your benevolent gaze, and be all ears," okay, "and be all ears towards his gracious discourse. And there is grievous torment for the disbelievers." So for the disbelievers, there's a grievous torment. So I think for every verse of the Quran you're going to be giving me right now, I will be reading from this translation of the Quran.
Yeah, it's always important because sometimes some of these things are
Yeah.
lost in translation, or they are hidden purposefully by those who translate into English because they do not want the English learner to actually basically understand some of these things. And there are many of that I'll tell you. For example, even the very first
Yeah.
verse of this chapter, it says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. That is a book. That is a book. Dhalika is actually something that you
Yeah.
point to. It's a pointing word. But when you read it in your Yusuf Ali translation and in your English, most of them will say this is a
Wow.
book. In other
In
words,
fact,
they mean this the Quran.
I'm going to be reading
You see,
from this Quran again, just to confirm what you've said. It is this that is there. Quran, it says, "This is the glorious book in which there is no chance of doubt. It is a guide for those who guard against evil and fear Allah." So just like you said, it's this particular one is saying this is.
See, they use the word this, but anybody, and I challenge any Muslims to say the Arabic is clear. If Allah wanted to say this, he would actually say he would say adal kitab, but it says dhalika. When you say dhalika, anybody with a
Yeah.
basic understanding of Arabic grammar will tell you هذا كرسي, this is a chair, ذلك كرسي, that is a chair. So Quran is basically says ذلك الكتاب, that is the book. Anyway, that's not our
I'm
subject.
trying
Let's
to
go back
check
to what
other
we're talking about.
translations to
Verse
see which one
100
that
and
uses that, and I can see all of them uses this. Maybe there's some other translation out there. I've not seen one at the moment.
they are, and they ought to be truthful. Now, verse 104 basically we begin to see where now I would say the rain begins to be, because now the relationship between Muhammad and the Jews begins to spoil, and therefore the tone of the
Yeah.
Quran will change. Let's go to chapter 5, verse
So that's
182.
Quran chapter 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, 82.
108.
Yes.
Okay.
Al-Ma'idah
182.
82. No.
Verse 82.
82.
Okay, all right.
5,
Quran
8.
chapter 5, verse 82. So here we go. And here's what it says. Quran chapter 5, verse 82. "Thou wilt surely find that of all people, the most hostile to those who believe in this holy rite are the Jews, as well as those who are bent on ascribing divinity to aught beside God. And thou wilt surely find that of all people who say, Behold, we are Christians, come closest to the feeling affection for those who are believing. Come closest to those feeling affection for those who believe in this holy rite. This is so because there are priests and monks amongst them, and because these are not given to arrogance."
Okay, now I want you to look at two things in this verse. It says you will find that the strongest enemies to those who believe, i.e., to the Muslims, are the Jews and the
Yes.
pagans. So what changed between Surah 2, verse 62, and Surah 5, verse 82? Or you could say, what changed between Surah 5, verse 65, and Surah 5, verse 82? So it says, those among them, the strongest
Yes.
enemies are the Jews and the Mushrikun. Mushrikun here, it means the polytheists, those people that do not have a book. In other words, the Arabs who are unlettered.
Yeah.
And then he says that the ones that are closer to the
Yeah.
believers are those who say we are Christians. And he goes on to say in another chapter, chapter 52, that it's because in the hearts of Christians, Allah, God, has put a mercy.
Mm-hmm.
But here he says that the enemies now are the Jews and the Mushrikun. Read for me verse 51 of the same
Okay,
chapter.
so that's Quran chapter 5, verse 51. I'm going to be reading from this particular translation I told you about. In fact, I should have read from this for that particular verse. Anyways, Quran chapter 5, verse 51 from this translation, it says, "O you will believe, do not consider hostile Jews and Christians as your reliable allies. They are all friends to one another against you, and whoever of you makes friend with them will also become one of them. Surely Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people." There's something interesting I found about this verse, this particular
Now
translation.
remember that Muhammad is a mercy to mankind. But here the Quran says, "O ye who believe, ya ayu alladhina amanu, do not take the Jews and the Christians for your allies and protectors. They are allies and protectors to each other. And whoever turns to them, in other words, in friendship, verily Allah guided not a people that are unjust." Now, this points to two different things. For us, we know the Bible says that while we were still sinners, while we were still unjust, God loved us. And that is, for us, that is, and even gave his son to die for us. That is a very key, important verse for us. That Allah does not guide a people that are unjust. He waits for you to become just before he can guide you. And the question is, who would then make you just? But again, it says now that, remember, in the initial point was only for Jews. Do not make Jews, these Jews, and then you will find, when we go back to verse 82 again, let me point to you something on verse 82.
Let me read
it says, concerning
it says, you will find indeed the Jews and the polytheists the bitterest of people in their enmity against the Muslims. And the closest in love and affection for the Muslims you will find those who say, indeed, we are Nazarene, and in brackets, Christians. This is because amongst them are servants, scholars of Sharia. They are servants as well, monks. All right, and moreover, they are not given to arrogance. What a bright compliment for the Christians.
It's a good compliment, and I also want you to see that last part. They are not arrogant. That's very important. They are not arrogant, and I'll show you why it is important. Let's go to Surah Al-Zumar. Surah Al-Zumar, I believe it's chapter 39. I want you to remember that last part where it says they are not
arrogant.
They are not
arrogant. Yes.
They are not arrogant.
That's Quran chapter 39.
Okay. Yes. And let me point to you something here in chapter 39 concerning why it is important. It says they're not
Okay, so what's the
arrogant.
verse we're looking at?
And chapter 39, and just want to confirm
Okay,
the
folks,
verse
while
for
we
you.
are trying to get the verse, if you have any question at this point in time, please, the number to call is on the screen. You can see the number right there, 234-8127-9995. Now, Warren, you can actually call in to ask your question, or you can post the question in the comment section, and then we're going to try and answer the question shortly, because we're going to be rounding off shortly. So please make sure you're posting your question right there, and then we'll try and answer your question. All right. So, Bro Chaka, is your are you ready with the verse right now? Yeah.
I'm just wanting to confirm it.
Okay, so while you're looking at that verse of the Quran, just let me know if you found it. There's something I want to show folks right here, because just want to add to what you're saying, Muhammad being a mercy to mankind. I mean, I know these are the things that the Muslims have been claiming, but then I just want to show us something, okay, from the Islamic sources. I'm going to read an hadith narration for us, okay, to show how merciful the Prophet of Islam can be. And here's what it says in the hadith narration. It says this. It says again, okay, yeah, we're all seeing this right now. It says, narrated Jabril bin Abdullah. It said, the Prophet said, who is ready to kill Ka'b bin Ashraf, who has really hurt Allah and his apostle? All right. So that is the Prophet of Islam saying this, that somebody has hurt him and Allah, and is asking who is ready to kill that person for him. And then we have Muhammad bin Maslama. That's Maslama said, "Oh Allah's messenger, do you like me to kill him?" And then Muhammad replied in the affirmative, saying, "Go ahead, boy, go kill him for me." So Muhammad bin Maslama went to him, that's Ka'b, and said, "This person," meaning the Prophet, "has put us to task and asked us for charity." He was lying there. Can you imagine? Just because he wanted to kill this guy, he was lying. Ka'b replied, "By Allah, you will get tired of him." Muhammad said to him, that's the person that was sent to kill Ka'b, "We have followed him, so we dislike to leave him till we see the end of his affair." Muhammad bin Maslama went on talking to him in this way till he got a chance to kill him. Folks, Muhammad is a merciful prophet. That is what we've been told. We're told that he's a mercy to mankind, he's a merciful prophet, but take a look at what has happened right here. Because somebody hurt Allah and his messenger, meaning Allah and Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam actually sent an assassin. In our modern day world, that is an assassin. I had a hired assassin. An assassin is somebody that you hire to help you kill, all right? So the Prophet actually sent somebody to kill his enemy for him, and of course, the person he sent was also a Muslim. I mean, how merciful can the Prophet of Islam be? Now, if you're a Muslim, please, I want you to explain how merciful this is, because I don't understand this to be mercy in any way, shape, or form. So, Brother Shaka, have you found the verse? Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes, I did.
What verse is that?
So it's verse 71.
Sorry?
Verse 71 and
Okay, that's
72.
Quran chapter 19, right?
No,
Okay,
chapter 39,
39,
Surah
yeah.
Zumar.
Sorry about that. 71 and 72, right? Okay. Quran chapter 39, verse 71 says,
And I will also right away come back to the hadith you just.
Okay. In fact, I think we're going to be rounding off right from the hadith, so we take questions if there are any. The reason being that I'm sorry, I am running out of battery at this point in time. My power supply has just gone out, and I'm sorry, folks. We're working on this. Don't worry, everything will soon be sorted out. So my power has gone out, and then I need to make sure that we get to the end of this before the whole thing shuts down. All right. So, okay. So let me read the verse for you. Quran chapter 39, verse 71. It says, "The unbeliever."
Because of that, let's go to in cloud,
Yes.
in crowds. And then to them it will be said, "Enter the gates of hell to dwell therein, and evil is this abode of the arrogant. Therefore, Jahannam or hell is the abode of the arrogant." But one of the characteristics one of the pointers of Christians, according to the Quran, is that they are not
Awesome, awesome.
arrogant.
Really love that.
They are therefore Therefore, they are not part and parcel of the abode of
Awesome.
hellfire, because otherwise the Quran would be contradicting by saying that the Jahannam is the abode of the arrogant, and pointing to us that the Christians are not part and parcel of the
Awesome,
arrogant.
awesome. I like
So
that.
you're
Bro,
welcome. So Muhammad again, I didn't even get to talk to this. How did he act or react to his enemies when he was offended? How did he
okay,
react? That's why
bro, bro.
that's
I
why I
think,
divided, and I think we need
yeah.
to do this on different
Exactly,
time. We can,
exactly. We're gonna
yeah, we
get this
can take in
done.
the
We're gonna
listeners.
get this done as a part two. So what it means is that we won't be able to finish up this episode as it is right now. We're gonna have part two of this particular episode. And in that part two, bro, you're gonna be dealing exactly with that particular part you just mentioned, how he dealt with his enemy and all of that. So we're going to be dealing with that in the part two. And of course, the reason why I'm doing this is because, again, I'm looking at the battery of my system right now. I was actually running on an alternative power, but that has gone out for now. So I need to make sure that we'll wrap it up from here. So, folks, if you have any question right now, please, you can drop the question so that we can, quickly take one or two questions. I think we can take one question for now because of the fact that we will not be able to go much longer, because of the battery. All right. So while I'm waiting for questions, I just want to say thank you very much to Brother Chaka. I know it's a sacrifice for you to come online by this point in time. I mean, it's not really an easy thing. It's still very much early right there where you are. Okay, so it's a lot of sacrifice for you to have done this. So we really want to appreciate you. We want to thank you for holding up, for coming up at this point in time. Okay, so while we're actually waiting for questions to come in, let me just quickly appreciate folks that are actually on Facebook. Really want to thank them. Thank you very much, Floyd Ola. Thank you for coming in. Thank you very much, Isaac. God bless you. But for Larry, for Labi Sunday, thank you very much. Kofin Martin, thank you very much. Chai J. Mashams, thank you very much. Okay, David Katana Arocho, thank you very much. Oluwale Babatomiwa Elijah, really want to thank you guys. Thank you for holding on. God bless you. All right, so for now, we're not seeing any question from our Muslim friends. We're not seeing anybody calling in at this point in time. I'm going over to YouTube to see if we have folks on YouTube wanting to ask any question at this point in time. Probably if they have any question right there. Okay, so I'm on YouTube right now, and I can't see a question right there. So what I'm seeing right now is good afternoon. That is from Adebayo Emmanuel, and we also have Adirele Abiodun James. God bless you right on. So they really appreciating what we're doing, bro. They are thankful for what for what we're doing right here. So there are no questions at this moment. I believe that probably when next we're going to be having this show, we will be having questions there. So, bro, you're still coming back on the show for this particular episode, for this particular series, because we need to get to that point where we see what the Prophet of Islam did to his enemy. So right now, I think we're going to be wrapping it up. Again, I feel we could do longer than this, but because of time, of course, we've even done 1 hour right now. I want to appreciate everyone who is on the program at the moment, and I also want to apologize right now that we didn't start this program early. I'm sorry about that. It's because we had a little issue, and then I'm having a warning sign from my system right here. So again, Bro Chaka, I'm so grateful. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
I
in.
just lost you. Are you still here?
No, I'm still here, brother. Okay, can you still hear me, Bro Chaka? I'm still right here
Yes, I
right
can hear
now.
you, sir.
Yeah, it seems my camera is freezing because of my system, but then I'm still very, very much with you. All right, so Bro Chaka, I want to say thank you to you. God bless you. We're going to be having you again next week, Lord willing. Sorry, next week. Oh, we're having a show next week. That should be in the next 2 weeks, okay? We're going to have you in the next 2 weeks so you can come back and then we can have this program together. Lord willing, next week we're going to be having this program, differences between the Hafs and the Warsh version of the Quran. So next week we're going to be talking about the differences between the Hafs and the Warsh version of the Quran. Brother Chaka, if you're available, we can do this together next week, Lord willing. If you're available next week, we can talk about the differences between the Warsh and the Hafs version of the Quran. All right? But except that, I want to thank everyone for being on the show. Thank you very much, Brother Chaka. God bless you for your graciousness. God bless you.
Is that the one that that Jay Smith and Atun printed, according to your Muslim friends?
Yes. That's the one that Dr. J and Atun touch. They don't have time for any other thing. I mean, these guys don't have time for any other thing than to sit down and begin to print copies of the Quran. You can imagine that. They have a handful of time.
Yeah, Brother Kurede, before we wrap up, I think I owe you an apology, and I do owe our listeners an apology for starting up the show late today. Somehow in my mind, we had ourselves starting at 7 a.m. My time, but I know that it was actually supposed to be 6 a.m. my time, and so next time we'll work on that so that we will be on the same page. But thank you so much for granting me an opportunity to come on and share this. And I believe that we will still be meeting here and sharing more. God bless you.
Amen, bro. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you very much. Thanks for your sacrifice, and God bless you, folks. I'm going to be signing out right now. We're going to be signing out because of course, I don't need to repeat that again. Lord willing, next week we're going to meet. Thank you very much, folks, and God bless you. Make sure you stay safe out there. I heard that Corona is coming back again. Please, let's stay safe. The Lord is our protector and our guidance. Thank you very much, and then God bless you.
We love you, Lord, we love you. Father, we give you all the glory. You are my rock, my strength, and my trust.